when you are presented with something in your life, a challenge that no one ever gave you instructions, you never thought this would happen in your life, you really had no idea how to navigate it, you were completely in the dark. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. In 1995, my son was diagnosed with autism, and actually he wasn't really diagnosed. I ran from place to place, and nobody seemed to know what was wrong. Slightly developmentally delayed, slight speech delay. The only thing I knew is that he wasn't like my other son. He was very quiet, very antisocial. He didn't interact with people. He was very serious. That's a common symptom in autistic children is you'll hear people say, oh, he's so serious, or oh, she's so serious. You just know that your child's a little bit different. Well, I remember trying to find out information, and also it was a very dirty word in 1995. It still had the negative connotations of it being the mother's fault. So I would ask around, and nobody wanted to say the word. Nobody wanted to say the word, from this evaluation to this $1,000 evaluation to this psychologist. And there's no blood test. It's more like a social worker, a speech therapist, occupational therapist. It's very subjective. So I remember that I went to this lady, and she was one of the therapists, and I just looked at her and I said, is he autistic? And she looked at me and she said, he needs help. That's all that really matters. We don't need a name. We don't need a label. All we need to know is they need extra help. So, okay, help. I really didn't know what that meant. I didn't know, what to do with it. So I remember knowing that he was very alone, knowing that he was very shy, and I went to the university that had a little clinic for autistic kids that had diagnosed him, and I had made a sign for my car, and it said, 9-year-old autistic child needs aid. And when I was typing it, I didn't know what to put. I didn't know what word to put. It was a friend. He needs a friend. He needs someone just to spend time with him, to talk to him, to nurture him. So I had no real money, so I thought maybe by hanging it at the university I could get a volunteer that hopefully would be able to get this and help with their coursework. Shortly thereafter, being in real estate, I had a lady in my car, and I still had not hung the sign yet, and she was a flight attendant moving to Puerto Rico, and I remember she was in the back seat, and suddenly in a very low voice she said, oh, I love kids that have handicaps. I love handicapped children. And I looked back, and I pulled the poster out, and I show it to her, and she doesn't say anything. And I thought, uh-oh, I don't want to pressure her. I don't want her to feel like she has to take the job. So I just put the poster back. And I looked back, and she's very young, and I said, you have kids? And she responded that she'd worked in a foster home and loves kids with special needs. She was left speechless. I know now that she was too sad to respond, and I had to find a friend for him. Within a few days, she came over. Her friend told me that she really wanted to meet him. I told her that I was never home, but that all she had to do was go there any time. Actually, she lived around the corner. So she went to my house, and his favorite thing at the time was Tom and Jerry. So she used to watch Tom and Jerry. Her 1 hour turned into 4 hours, turned into 4 years. She would sit on the couch with him, talk to him, and teach him everything around Tom and Jerry. After 4 years, she had gotten him to school. We laughed because she took him from Tom and Jerry to Laguna Beach. I worked from home, and it was disturbing to me that he was 9 and not in school. No school, neither public nor private, would accept him. Very hard to believe. I wrote President Clinton, I wrote our local governor, Rosselló, I knocked on doors, I pushed forward. No answers. I took him to sing a very famous Christian singer who prayed over him. A short while later, a new Christian school in English opened its door 5 minutes from my house, Fountain Christian Bilingual School. I went very enthusiastically, and they denied him also. Very lovingly and sincerely, they said that the school was brand new and that they didn't know anything about the condition, and they felt that he would not be served there well. Lisa, who is now living with us because her time in our house became so extensive that she just decided to move in on his little trundle bed, and she kept saying, he's got to go to school, she's got to go to school. Well, in this last school, as I was leaving, he spoke for the very first time in a very chopped way, and it said, Mom, I want to go to the new school with KJ. Since this was the longest sentence he made and the most cognitive sentence he had ever put together, I decided to try again. We negotiated, and I agreed that if he became a disturbance, he would be removed. After many trials and tribulations, he is now 21 and sailing. He's very adored. He graduated with high honors, and it wasn't easy. People would say, don't get your hopes up. Our hopes should always be up. Our expectations that all things are possible.